Welcome to a new spirit that will warm your heart. Welcome to a new spirit. Every day's a brand new start. Where encouraging words can heal your soul and dreams will be renewed. Welcome to a new spirit, a new spirit in you.
He's 7 feet tall with fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. Welcome to the New Spirit Radio Show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. I'm going to tell you that, where are we? We're in April 5th of 2023. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and MIT Catherine Taylor, playing audio segments we call Messages from Spirit. Why? Answering the ultimate question, why are we here and what is our purpose?
These segments are recorded trance sessions from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. So for new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's body. And we think of our bodies being similar to a car, where one driver gets out and another driver gets in. This allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Raheim, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Raheim shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench in a rose garden on the other side.
And here are our hosts, MIT Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley.
Hello!
Howdy. We're here. We made it. No apologies for last week, or was last week just a figment of our imagination?
Yeah.
Okay.
last week was tough. Like right before, so for anyone who was wondering, last week, right before, like literally like five minutes before we were about to sit down and get started, my husband called me and he had just gotten into a car accident. And so,
ouch, yeah.
So, car pretty sure is totaled. He is okay. He got dazed, maybe like a tiny concussion, but he's okay, thank God. And it was just, it was just a wild event that happened. And I absolutely think that angels were watching out for him, because it just so happened that right as he had gotten into the accident, which he wasn't at fault for, he got T-boned while he was just like minding his own business on a thoroughfare. Someone came out of the side street and just hit him. But right when that happened, there was someone who worked roads, whose normal day job was working roadside assistance, and so that person pulled over and was able to take care of him completely, and got him like just completely like I knew reputable places to refer him to, and the whole process. And I was on the phone with Jason. I was like, Are you okay? Are you okay? Because he was very dazed, and sometimes people don't realize that they're injured when they're that dazed. And so I heard that person in the background saying, "I see you. You're physically okay." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, other side, for making sure that there's a bystander to say over the phone in a way that I can hear that he is physically okay." Thank God, because I was, oh man, that was
nerve-wracking in the middle of,
it was nerve-wracking, but
that was a priority. So, and I learned something in the process too, how to post a note on YouTube. A couple of people responded to it. Anyway, we'll talk about that one later. But yeah, so I did learn that there's a way to leave a note saying, "Hey, we're not going to be here." So, well, cool. We're here, and yes,
I've got,
hopefully my story doesn't go on too long either. So, because I've got like two things.
Ooh, I want to hear. I want to hear.
Because I had one ready and we didn't do the show, and then I got another one. So,
Ooh.
anyway, for those of you that are new, welcome. Appreciate your
Welcome.
listening in, and wanted to give a quick outline of what we do here and what we offer. In the meantime, everyone else if you'd like to share in the comments what you used, how did you use Nova Spiritus philosophy last week? So that's what we love to start with. So you can get started on that, and the agenda is, well, that's what we start with, and then I'll talk about some announcements. We go into special prayers when a moment of silence. We get to listen to these wonderful trance segments. You can participate in the meditation that follows. I'll talk about some closing notes, and then we have a special prayer ceremony we call a novena, or we call a novena. And everybody's welcome to participate in that. I'll talk about some appreciation, and then we conclude with a prayer by Sylvia. Our next item is, and I have a special tea this week too. Hello. For those of you that haven't seen my, I lit this candle for the Sunday service post on Facebook and YouTube, and I had this really long stream of flame coming out of it, which I used for the thumbnail for the picture. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Anyway, so that we got, and then let's do some, I hope I find this when I'm done. Announcements. So real quick, we appreciate your being on, but to help promote us, if you would share, promote, like, subscribe, click on the bell, and donate when you can. If you feel so inclined to donate, the easiest method is you go to our website, novus.org, and there's a place that you can drop some helpful funding for us to keep things like this in the going and getting, moving forward with this.
I think it's in this corner on YouTube. Subscribe.
What's that?
The subscribe button, I think, is in this corner that I'm poking to.
Oh, I see.
I think it shows up right here on the screen. Anyway, thank you. It does help us. It does help us. So
yeah, for sure. Okay. Now I'm lost on screens here. Where the heck? Cool. So let's share. And for those of you that have left in the comments, well, actually, what do you want? Do you want to go first? Do you want to do rock, scissors, paper, or?
I would love to hear from you.
Okay. Put a clock on it because I may go overboard here. Because there's my first thing here. So someone wrote in about blah blah blah. Oh, where'd it go? They had a question about. I've been listening over and over again to our session segment or episode, but I think they wrote the wrong episode because it's number 39 and number 40. Trying to find out the name that Francine gave of who Sylvia was in a past life with Christ, and I wrote back to them. I wrote back to them. Because I expressed appreciating, hearing that this material is the best thing that happened to them in their lives, because that was another thing that was expressed, and this was just a quick email. It says, unfortunately, I don't recall off the top of my head who Francine stated that Sylvia was around the time that Christ lived, and unfortunately, if I research, there probably won't be a show this week. And what also came to mind was, yes, it's cool to learn these unique tidbits of knowledge, but they shouldn't be the spark that keeps your attention. And I went on to say, how did you learn about Sylvia and Novus Spiritus? What caught your attention or rang true that sparked your interest? And how have you used this philosophy in the last week or month? And I followed up with, your answers are what should keep your attention. And why did I bring this up? Well, it's a cautionary tale.
Sure.
it's a caution. It's, the feeling of privileged. Sometimes we can get feeling privileged with secret knowledge, and that leads to specialness of self, which we know is a how do you say, pulls the rug out from under our
Unhelpful.
spirituality.
Yeah.
It also can, if you're not paying attention to it, we've heard and talk about spiritual advancement. That spiritual advancement can lead to spiritual ostentatiousness. Oh, I'm better than, it's like, oh, I'm without, but I become aware, and then all of a sudden, oh, I feel privileged. That's the trip up. That's the lesson you need to pay attention to, so that you don't fall into that category of the spiritual ostentatiousness. So, these feelings of secret privileged knowledge from secret societies, that's allowing your ego, that's getting your ego out of whack. So just wanted to share that and say, hey, we do the best we can here, and unfortunately I didn't have the answer.
I remember two things. If you're good with me sharing them.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, this is like we're saying this just with soberness. It's not putting Sylvia on a pedestal by any stretch of imagination. Like, think about how Sylvia hated being on pedestals, and she's like, no. So like, this is not one of those moments. So in I want to say maybe 3 or 4 months ago, they were talking about Mary, the the Virgin Mary, who wasn't really a virgin. So they're talking about Mary, and it was like extremely implied that that was a past life of Sylvia, that she was Mary, and that she knew that, and was just like recoiled at all of the statues of Mary, because she doesn't want to be put in that position.
Right.
So that's a recent trance that we had, that we were listening to. And then I want to say, years ago, they were talking about Jesus's, Francine was talking about Jesus's life in detail, and talked about how in his marriage to Mary Magdalene, had gone on to have many children and adopted some children as well, for a total of 19 children, and not one of them went bad. That is an incredible amount. That is an incredible brood. My goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness, an incredible brood. And one of the daughters was another incarnation that Sylvia had. So that is something that I recall, and I'll have to take a look. And yes, we are working on getting the archive set up so that people can access that again. Yes, that is working. So that's just that's just what we've been.
What's been expressed here in these trance sessions.
Yeah, it's nothing to put her on a pedestal about. It's just like, oh, okay, putting pieces of puzzle together, and you can do with it whatever feels good for you. So.
Well, that was my first one.
Yeah. All right, cool.
The second one was, begrudgingly, I got a reading with Chris.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Was yours begrudgingly too? Or was yours out of...
Yeah. Continue.
Okay. Continue. And why I say begrudgingly is because it's been like, it feels like someone's been yelling in my ear for like a while, and I'm like, I hesitate to do it because it's one of those, what's the right word? I want to do my best to follow this philosophy, and this philosophy isn't about calling up your psychic every week and, hey, what do I do? What am I helmet? It's
Sure.
It's about finding your own truth, learning your own, following your path. What is our first tenet? It's scaling the mountain of self, and if Christ, or if God always puts that burning bush out there for you to say, oh, that's right, there's a God and there's more than what's in front of us, then you're not here to learn. That's not that's not what we're here for. So let's see. So yes, I did do that, and it was helpful. What's the right word? Spiritual update, as it were, or I think I had another phrase for it, but I can't remember. But yeah, that's what I had fun with that, and he's kind and generous and helpful with ideas and guidance. And here, take a look at this, and so yeah, we had fun with that.
Fantastic. Yeah, Chris is so sweet. So my I got a mini reading with Chris because I only had one question because we feel like it's time to move, but we weren't sure. Like the various directions where we could move are just like vastly different from each other, and would certainly require some effort to like get relicensed in another state if we moved out of state.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Distance. So, certainly, yeah. So there's a high bar. So, so talked it over with Chris, and Chris was like, "No, you're going to stay in the same area. That's where the money is." I was like, "Okay." So it's very good. Yeah, it was very. But that's exciting because I've got things that I want to do still, and I've got some more podcast ideas. And there's cool. Like I would love, like one thing that I'd like to do once I like I'm able to like get ordained, hopefully at the end of this month. Woohoo! I want to start making some like a mini series of just 4 or 5 minute videos about like different things of Gnosticism. So if someone's like, what do Gnostics think about Halloween? It'll be like a just a video reference, and just so that people have some references in case you want to share it with a friend or something. It's something nice and bite-sized. Cool. So yeah.
Make it less than 60 seconds, and we have a venue for it.
Okay. Oh man.
And make it a vertical video. Cool. That's fun.
Yeah. So got some things to do. Yeah.
So I'm trying to reconstruct here or organize. Anyone in the comments share what they use?
Yeah. Yes. Let's see here. All right. Thank you everyone for all these very sweet prayers for Jason. I really appreciate that, and I will let him know, and he appreciates it too. Thomas shares, I managed to avoid 2 head-on collisions this week. The first one I could have swore I said no in my mind, and the last one I managed to swerve and blast my horn. Oh my goodness. Glad that you are okay. And good on you for saying no. Oh, geez Louise. Within shares, I ask others to pray for my sister who is going through a hard time. I'd be happy to amplify that and send her prayers this evening and ongoing. Let's see here. Thomas says that he is doing okay, just doing some reflecting about life. Yeah, as you do in those moments. Oh my goodness. Miss LJ says, good evening, everyone. As I rush into the room, blessings to you. Michelle shares, this week I had to hold some better boundaries. We have to believe people when they show us who they are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and remember, we've been told that there's usually like there's periods throughout the year where there'll be like an unveiling where suddenly you're seeing people's like true selves like all at once, and you're like, what is this person acting this way for? And so, so something to keep in mind if you find yourself going through a period of time where you're like, wow, what is going on here? Might be one of those unveiling periods. George says, the wound on my leg is getting healed thanks for the gatekeeper, my own counsel in the prayer chain. So that's awesome. We're using what we've been talking about. That's really, really cool. And Michelle clarifies, yeah, that's exactly what's happening with the unveiling period. Whew. All right, well, good on you for thinking about boundaries, and I'll keep you in my prayers because that's not always a very fun time. Now I'm going to go switch over to look at Facebook comments. Gibson says, I'm still trying to get my computer to work. I'm fighting my cat for my tuna sandwich, and I use my knowledge with a... Hear that, Floofy? Yeah. And Gibson says, I used my knowledge with a road rage from some crazy person and getting my new pool motor to work. All right, good. So just interacting with life. That's awesome. All right, cool. Thank you so much for all your comments, and look forward to reading them as we continue on with our show tonight.
Cool. All right.
Very cool.
What on earth? Oh, I see. We do that. Oh, special prayers. So everybody, I appreciate if you participate. Doesn't matter if you're listening live or on demand. Let's do special prayers. We're going to do a moment of silence for special prayers for everyone in need, and visualize the outcome. Visualize what you think would be the best thing, and we're asking for the greater good as well. If you want to make it public, feel free to put it in the comments, or if you want to keep it private, like a full petition or something, you can go to the website and post on the prayer chain. So let's take a moment all together and get that energy out and say, Mother God, Father God, archangels and archetypes, get out there, and even the guides too, they can help influence for positive change. Amen.
Amen.
And of course, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it. Oh, what are we doing? Oh, that's what we got. If for new people, if you happen to be streaming challenged, we do have a service. It's a conference call. You're welcome to listen while we're live. You can call in and listen in. We've had people, they're driving and they're want to listen in while we're live. That's great too. That's better than watching us on video, which may not be appropriate. But yes, we have some callers on at this time. I was just checking in.
Hello.
Yeah. So that number 888-534-2696. So while we are live, where are we? This is Wednesday evenings, 6 p.m. Pacific time.
First Wednesday of the month, so you know what time it
There
is.
you go. Hey, can you say the ingredients again? The recipe.
Yeah. This is from Raheim. 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And this is for cleansing, and especially if you're concerned about any sort of radiation. So he said to do this once a month, and so this is my friendly reminder. It's my favorite.
All right. Because somebody had, I can't remember if it was, I got either an email or a comment somewhere. Somebody was asking about that. So that's what, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Once a month. All right.
And if you are on the conference call, do appreciate if you stay muted so that everybody's got a wonderful episode. Now we can do trance segments.
Exciting. All right. Here we go. So Raheim is so usually it's Francine who does the Potpourri episodes, but we have a rare one with Raheim answering Potpourri questions. So they're going to be all over the place tonight, and it's going to be really, really neat. Some really cool things that he gets into. So first segment, Raheim is continuing on from 2 weeks ago. He says some comments about how the Chinese state wants to conquer the world and has no respect for life. Yikes. Japan will stop China. Whatever China wants, Japan automatically doesn't want them to have. Ghandi divided India with a holy war. And Raheim was screaming, "Let him starve." No. The trance date for this is April 1st, 1996. So keep that date in mind for the political context of things that were going on at the time in 1996. But yeah, that was
even though it does not represent April Fool's Day. It was April 1st at that time, but there were no April Fool jokes involved. So keep that in mind for context.
Yes.
Cool. Now you can take notes. Here we go.
And the Chinese, of course, selling their weapons to people like Hamas and
They want to conquer the world. That's what's so dangerous. You get a combination of people that want to conquer the world and have no respect for life, and you've got a terrible, frightening. And I'm certainly not pointing a finger at any of our people in here that may be of Asian or Chinese descent. They have nothing to do with what the Red Chinese are doing. That's the same thing as saying a rabid Jew or a rabid German or whatever. It's what are we going to blame her because Hitler was a maniac? No, there's no way. There's no way we can do that because she had nothing to do with that. It's really the sins of the country or the tyrant that falls totally upon the poor people who live there.
Oh, yeah.
Sylvia's grandmother, who was full-blooded German, used to say that tyrant should be shot down, but the people were helpless to do that.
right.
Yes.
Raheem, you're speaking of the waves and waves of Chinese, and you said that they wanted to conquer the world. Looking at it, at the heart of what is the heart of the Chinese that's leading this? I mean, the people.
Conquer the world.
No, I mean.
That's it.
Their government, who would.
The political machine.
They want to conquer and embody. You see, the one thing you've got to find, from the time they were birthed, they were trained, more so than the Nazis were. I mean, they made the Nazi camps look like baby playgrounds. The Chinese, from the time they have been brought up into the world, tiny, were taught loyalty to country, no thought for death, everything for the greater whole. It's communism in its most horrible form, or fascism.
Then it's not a nucleus thought, it's the whole thought of the whole people.
It's power. It's ultimate power. That's all it is. Ultimate power unto itself is reason. I want to conquer because I do. Why does a man climb the mountain? To get there. Because it's there. Yes.
Is it an individual leading this, or is it?
No, it's mass now. It's mass now.
That's what I was asking.
It's a mass thing. It's a machinery unto itself. See, you get a conglomerate of people that are mindless, that are thinking like one autonomous mind, because they've been beaten into this autonomy. They're not even living. They're just like robots that march.
We saw that in Tiananmen Square.
Yes.
I mean, they just mowed the people down.
That's right. They have no remorse. There's no religion. There's no anything. And if there is a religion, it's all molded around the wealth and the gain. And see, what's so terrible is these people have no wealth.
Yeah.
They have no gain. It's just all for the glory of conquering in the country. Yes.
How long do you see them? What period of time? You say in about 10 years it should get pretty hot and heavy, I would assume. And then will it be prior to the cataclysm that it will stop? Or
Yes. Yes, it will. It will. And the thing about it is there won't be much to conquer of this country then. I don't mean it's going to be, but I mean, they don't want to get a country. It's just like the Japanese came over and bought up all your land. Well, the last thing you want to do is buy up a bankrupt country. So what are they going to do? Intermarry? They don't want to do that. What are they going to do? Get your refineries? No, you've given them all away. Your resources, what do you have? It's all in other countries. So really, if stop and think about it, it's a good thing is America has nothing now. At one time, America, as you well know, was a breadbasket. It has now destroyed its farms. Its refineries are gone. America is becoming nothing but a toxic waste dump. No one's going to want to conquer that. Now, that's the plus. As awful as that sounds, that's the plus.
So who do you see stopping the Chinese?
The Japanese. The Japanese will stop the Chinese. Oh, yes, they will. Oh, yes, they will. They're arch enemies. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They're arch enemies. They're arch enemies.
Yeah, that's what
I would presume the Russian border will get.
The Russian border will help, but let me tell you something. For one Japanese that would hurt anyone, such as the Taiwanese, the Japanese will come in to save the Taiwanese.
Wow.
Oh, really? Because Sylvia told me that the Chinese, mainland China, is going to invade Taiwan within a year. So Japan is going to come in and involve in that war.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
You see, look through history. History does repeat itself again and again.
Yes.
Whatever China wants, Japan doesn't want them to have. And vice versa. That's true. You know that.
Yeah.
No matter if it's this. They never wanted it before. China wants it. Japan says, no, you can't. Or vice versa.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Chinese, the Japanese have always abhorred the Chinese because of their culture, because they thought their culture was so streamlined, so perfect. They admired as well as hated their culture. On the other hand, the Japanese look at the Chinese and they didn't abhor their culture at all. They just want to annihilate them.
Yeah. I mean, Japanese once killed Chinese just like
Oh, yes.
too.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
It's
It's like the 100-Year War.
Yes.
And you see, when you get people of like, it's almost like a civil war. I know that no Asians are going to want to hear that, but it's like a civil war because the people of the same nations or country, or let's say looks, it's no different than the warring tribes of, let's say, different Native Americans. Why do the Cherokees want to go after whoever when they look just alike? Or look at your civil war in this country.
Yeah.
Father fought brother, brother fought brother. It's insane.
Or India and Pakistan.
India and Pakistan, because of this holy war business. And I have to lay this at the feet of Mahatma Gandhi. He divided that country down the middle with his silent, insipid starving. I was screaming on my side, let him die. Let him starve to death, is what I kept screaming. And I had so many people come over and say, stop that. But whenever he didn't get his way, he writhed around and wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
And he came across like, oh, I'm a man.
I'm holy.
I'm holy. How long will this last?
What's the significance?
5 years.
What's the significance of the comet that's coming toward us?
Nothing. It's a comment that's always been here.
Oh, okay. Things are okay. The end of things in 2060 some. We're becoming more metaphysical as time goes by. Is that
Where are you getting 2060?
Well, the estimate is 70 years lately.
Yeah, 70, 80
70,
years.
80 years.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Is that changing at all since we're becoming
No, you're not going to change the world at this point. It's too revolving away from everything. I think Sylvia told some people the other night there was about 70 or 80 years left to this earth and they got all upset. Why? Are you going to be here? I don't think so. I don't see anybody in this room that's going to be here. It's going to blow up. Well, it doesn't really blow up. It just swings out.
Changes orbit.
It changes orbit. It's done. And then Mercury comes in and then we start again. Yes.
You know, when you were talking about the enemies that repeat through time.
Yes, through time and ad infinitum.
One of the things I was wondering was because the Nazis seem to be, our general reference to evil. What was and then there were the Visigoths and there were the Romans.
And the Bolsheviks and on and on.
What was it in the time of Atlantis? Was it just the Atlanteans?
Atlanteans turn on each other like a civil war.
Right. Okay, so that would be their...
Well, the Lemurians wouldn't fight them, even though they thought they weren't right. The Lemurians wouldn't fight them. Now, Atlantis went over and conquered some Lemurians and brought them back as slaves. At the time of the big cataclysm, the Lemurians escaped anyway. They were truly the lost tribe, or we should say they were truly the people that were taken off.
Fascinating tidbits of piecing together history and who said what to who, and interesting correlation of like not liking like, as it were, from civil wars, and that makes for curiosity of who's thinking what and how do those differences arise. But he pointed out it's getting back to holy wars.
Yeah, it's I don't know much about Gandhi because I remember hearing so long ago that he was great, so I just didn't bother to learn anything about his life and whatnot. But yeah, that's something that I'm curious about to see kind of what the fallout from his life has been, because Raheim's now mentioned it a couple of times that how you want to be thinking about who you put on your own like inner council is you think about what was the result of their work, what came after their work as a result of their work, and of course you would never want anyone on your council who's gray. Like that's not it's not something any of us want. But so many people think that Gandhi was fantastic, but no, he was very manipulative individual. People who self-harm in order to get what they want, like that's very, very manipulative. So, So anyway, so it's just some thoughts, and I'm curious to see what the Holy War is that Raheim was talking about, because I just don't know much about that period of history. So.
It's also, I was thinking earlier in this segment about. He was talking about the Chinese and what they're up to, and I also, what came to my mind is there are Chinese that oppose that the fascism and the communism, and it's like impressive to see those individuals standing up and making a noise and bringing attention to situations. So
yeah. COVID really pushed a lot of buttons, it sounds like, because the communist state of China was very, like they cracked down so hard on their population, and so people were just passing away, like trapped in their apartments, and my goodness, just it's terrible conditions. And so I remember seeing protesters who would come out and they just had like pieces of paper, blank pieces of paper, because it's like, can't put anything on it, you're going to get arrested. Right. And I saw that Russia was doing something similar too, because people don't like authoritarianism. People want to be able to breathe and live their lives. So, yeah.
But some people, how do you say, adopt and adapt and get comfortable with it. So there's all the lessons learned there of and experiences involved to participate in that.
That's a really good point. There are so many ways and so many different avenues that a person can go down to give away their power. We can do that in marriages. We can do that in choosing a guru to follow. I like New Age gurus largely drive me up the wall, because people will just give away all their power to this person and be like, whatever, I
believe you're the only thing, and yeah,
drives me nuts. Like,
that's where the person stops thinking for themselves and allows the other person to specify their truth, as it were.
Yeah.
So there's no more learning, no lessons, no nothing. But in itself, depending on the person's chart, I'm not saying sit and go through it. if you get an inkling you're in a bad spot, do what you can to
Yes.
yeah,
The
maybe
moment you realize it. Yes.
yeah. So one of mine, not as dramatic as sitting in on or being absorbed or admitted to a cult. It's the what was it? Oh, the one of the tenets is in your strength. Is it a tenet? In your strength,
Yeah.
there lies your in your weakness. There lies your strength sleeping. And I used to think, oh, I must have charted that, so that's okay to let it sleep. And it finally occurred to me, no, it's like, no, it's wake it up. In your weakness, there lies the strength sleeping. You need your strength.
have to activate.
Wake it up. Exactly. Activate, wake it up, and do.
Yes, just because something is charted does not mean that it is destined to stay that way. You are a participant in your life and you have choice. So people get this mixed up because it's a fate versus free will is how it's usually been framed for us. It's like, well, is it fate or is it free will? But no, like it is a mesh of both so that you can find yourself and find your voice and find your agency. And so we are presented with charted or quote unquote fated events, and then it's up to us how we are going to respond. So we have agency, and that is how we grow. Because otherwise, all the people who are like, no, I'm definitely on the free will side, because otherwise, like, what's the point of it all? Yes, that's true. What would be the point of it all if there wasn't something that you can do about it? So we have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. And so,
but if you're going to buy the blue hat, you chartered to buy the blue hat, you're going to buy the blue hat.
Then you're going to buy the blue hat. That's right. Sometimes there are times where we look back and we're like, oh, why did I do that? But you did it anyway. And sometimes that was just the charted event that happened. And now it is up to us to have awareness. Because now you're in a place where you're like, okay, I have awareness now that I did this thing. I have awareness that I maybe missed the mark or like got into some trouble or whatever it was. And now that's the lesson of how are we going to respond? How are we going to find ways to cultivate a better way forward?
Yep. Fun.
There can be 20. Yeah. One last thing. In one like quote unquote fated charted event, Francine said there can be 20 different outcomes that you charted. And so that gives you an idea of how much control and that you can have to participate in your own life.
How are you going to respond to the experience?
Yes.
There's that. Yeah. Are you going to stand up or sit down?
Yeah.
Cool. What do we got next? Oh, any quick comments or anything people sharing?
Yeah, Naomi shares, I knew a person who broke out of a cult. So yes, it is possible to break free. Absolutely. Good for them. That's hard work. Miss LJ says, yesterday I viewed a video that detailed the various Christian faiths in our society and how they originated. I was shocked not to see Gnostic. That's interesting. Yeah.
But Christian, Christian faiths but yeah, I get your point. There are shows that have talked about the Gnostics and the history of, which was kind of interesting. But then I got bored with them, so I didn't finish them.
Yeah. All right. And checking out Facebook really quick. Make sure got some comments. All right. Cool. All right. So let's see here for our next segment. All right, we're going to have some more of Raheim sharing his potpourri thoughts. So Hitler outlawed the Book of Esther because it showed a genocide of Jews and a woman stopping it. That's great. Jews, Arabs, Protestants, and Catholics They can all get along in a room, but politics messes it up. Overworking keeps people compliant. Jesus' cousin Lydia. The Wailing Wall. Gene Roddenberry was Gnostic, creative Star Trek. Awesome. He's going to talk about like a far distant planet with life on it. Planet XL245 near Andromeda looks Klingon. So random and specific. All right, and then William Wallace was a Nuvoite. William Wallace was a Nuvoite. So it's cool. Told you,
Cool.
It's potpourri night.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Hey, what happened?
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't select something. That's what happened. Okay, let's try this. Oh, that was here, this looks better.
And I'm not too sure, and I have to research this more, but I bet I'm going to find a link with the Lemurians to what they think Moses' story was. Because the Lemurians were the first story of being let loose from the bondage of the Atlanteans.
So the Nazism was just spawned in this century. It's never ever been before.
Sylvia was making an interesting notes the other day on some program that she was talking to Aine about that Hitler outlawed the Book of Esther. He hated it. The reason why he outlawed the Book of Esther is because she was such a strong woman. And also because it was the only book in which showed that there was going to be a genocide of the Jews. And he was fearful of that because a woman stopped it. And so it repeats itself. And so from that time on, when the genocide was stopped to the time of Hitler, there was no other genocide. And there won't ever be a genocide. When Christ speaks about the Jews being persecuted, he's talking about the Gaddafis and you know, the Ayatollahs of the world that are, and you know what's so strange is because the Arabs and the Jews put together in a room get along very well. The problem is when you get the hierarchy of politics in, and you start getting these it's the same thing as the English and the Irish. They're all British Islanders. They all look alike, in fact, because one's Protestant and one's Catholic, that they're going to kill each other over the idea that one is Protestant and one is Catholic. It's the most insane format that this world has. And it's all done in the name, many times, of religion. Yes.
We know if they pit them against each other, but against their own kind, then they don't have time to think about maybe what's wrong with the control mechanism.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You bet. That's absolutely a fact. And if you don't give them time to think, you see the Chinese are kept in camps and they're marching and they're doing and they're cleaning and they're scrubbing and they have no time to think. You ask any male that you know that was in boot camp or in Marines or whatever and ask them during that 6-8 weeks, however many months, did they think? They will tell you they didn't think. They didn't think. All they could think about if they thought was, please can I sleep? Please can I get water? Please can I eat? And please can I sleep again? That's all. The survival mechanism takes over. And when you get people in that state, you can tell them to do anything.
Brainwash, really.
It's a brainwash. This thing in Montana is going to blow right up too. I don't want to be the daily news broadcaster, but it's going to blow sky high. But do you remember what I told you some time ago? In one of these sessions, I said that because of the tax structure of your country, I am not sanctioning this. But there will be revolts coming from all parts of your country.
Yes.
Because people, the same as in France, the same as you get the rich ruling country, you get people that are poor middle class being taxed out of their mind, and you're sitting on a tinderbox.
Yeah.
Yes.
Raheem, during the time that religion has placed Christ on this earth, they spoke of Mary Magdalene, etc., etc. Who was Lydia?
Lydia was a cousin. She was the other daughter of Anne, who was Elizabeth's Elizabeth was her sister. It was her child. Yeah, Lydia was.
Right.
Yes.
I saw a very interesting program the other evening on the gates of Jerusalem on the Learning Channel, and they were referring to the walled-up Golden Gate, which is now walled.
That's Solomon's Gate.
Yeah. Will that play any significance in the future?
No. It's just a wall there that only lasted through the time. It used to be part of the Great Palace, but the only thing that was left was that one wall that they didn't disseminate during the Babylonian, the Visigoth period. Everybody tried to destroy it. Everybody came down from the hills, whether it was the Babylonians, Sumerians, Persians, tried to annihilate it.
They came from the north
and annihilated the temple. The temple tried to be built back, was partially built back, and then it was destroyed again. The only thing that was left was the wall, the Wailing Wall.
But one of the things they said that intrigued me was that the part of the biblical prophecy was that Golden Gate was the gate that the coming Messiah was supposed to come through. And that's why I forget which conquering nation walled it up so the prophecy wouldn't come true or something. And I was just wondering if there was going to be any political trying to break the hole in the wall.
No, because see, the Arabs don't believe the same way as the Jews do. The Jews don't care what the Arabs say, because if some Messiah did come through the gate or broke it down, they wouldn't pay any attention. They'd shoot him anyway. Yes.
The city now is divided into 5 sections.
But the same thing as the 12 tribes. They splintered off and went their different ways anyway. So they couldn't stay together. It's very much like Gnostics do. They wander off and think they can start their own, and then they get lost in the ethers. It's always been the case of the Gnostics. I don't mean about you people, because you've hung pretty close together, but Gnostics have always had the, let's say, hypothetically, the curse on them to go out and let their egos get in the way and go wandering off somewhere and not stick. That's the crucible of the Gnostics, because ruling by love is not sometimes the most advantageous thing in this world. It's usually happens to be better for the world to be ruled by fear, which is the biggest tragedy. Yes.
You spoke of bilocation earlier. Do we ever on this plane bilocate?
You astrally project, you don't bilocate. I guess if you want to call it astral projection is a type of bilocation or doppelgangling, but it's not really. Because you see, when you're astrally projecting, you're lying in a prone position and then your spirit's out and about. Bilocation means both of you are running around, or 3 of you are running around. With full essence and full knowledge. With no diminished ability. I don't believe that I know of anyone, I think I did know of someone many, many centuries ago that tried to quadlocate, but it didn't work.
I would like to know if Gene Roddenberry, who started the Star Trek TV show many years ago, was he Gnostic?
Yes, he was.
Because so many of the themes.
Yes, he was.
And it was.
Yes.
And in that era.
Yes, I saw him the other day.
It was not.
I saw him the other day.
Common thought.
Yes. He, he was a forerunner of the Star Wars. He was a forerunner of the space and the different beings. And we do know, strangely enough, we could go hours on this one. I do know beings on a planet that is XL245, right outside of the middle of Andromeda, which looks like the Klingons.
Wow.
They look like the Klingons. Everybody's humanoid. No one has those big funny eyes and goofy face and little skinny arms and big 3 fingers. And we don't know that. I've never seen those. Only in your
E.T.
movies. Yes.
What are ultra-terrestrials?
Ultra-terrestrials are your guys. Extraterrestrials are people that are still alive and come from other planets. I am an ultra-terrestrial.
And Francine is too?
Yes, absolutely.
All spirits are.
All spirits are. Yes.
The myth of William Wallace, as portrayed in the movie that we've seen here called Braveheart, I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I am familiar with it.
Oh, Mel Gibson.
Yes, how true is...
Very true, very true. He kept it very close to the only thing he didn't do, because it was too gruesome, is they didn't tell or show, as I'm told, because I can't see your movies very well. If Sylvia wants us to watch a TV show, we have a terrible time. We just see dots going through the air. The molecular structure is all wrong. But Sylvia was recounting some of it to Aina, and she said that the true story was they disemboweled him. And when they disemboweled him, he literally was supposed to, he stood up with his bowels in his hand and screamed, freedom, freedom.
That was very true.
Yes, it was very true.
He's a very brave man.
Very brave man, yes.
Has he come back or is he over there?
No, he's over there. He was a true warrior spirit, true Gnostic, Nuvoite.
Fun information. Yeah, talk about wide range topics to cover. I was thinking of at the beginning they were talking about, or somewhere in the middle, talking about who's Lydia and how was that relationship to Christ, and I recalled the one of the classes that Sylvia taught years ago was in Bible study was we traced the lineage from David down to Christ, showing the I think you're muted still. The lineage through in the Bible. We had read through and followed that lineage, and I'm like, oh my God, it was as much as. I don't know if it's as much as she doesn't like algebra, but man, that was a challenge to get through that, read all through that, and follow the family trees, as it were. Bring it, to bring together, showing Christ was from the house of David.
Wow, that's amazing. If I would be fascinated if we had a recording of that somewhere of that class.
I want to think so. I gotta look at, but the problem is it's like horrible because it's not. It wasn't. Everybody would sit around in class with their own personal recorders, and so did I. I don't think that class was a recording like we did with these trances. So, I have stuff. I have archived stuff, but I don't recall if I have that. But yes, that would be a fun, to hear. But
yeah,
you gotta wanna.
Do what we can with it.
Well, there's things that can be done. But the other is it's a long journey to get through. Getting through that and following that whole path.
I bet. My goodness. Wow. Neat. So some comments that we have, folks were talking about, over on YouTube, we're talking about Gene Roddenberry and Star Trek and Star Wars. So we've heard that both creators, so Gene Roddenberry and George Lucas, for Star Wars, are like very Gnostic, but it's really interesting to see how their creativity brought out the Gnosticism in their own way. So for instance, for Star Wars, George Lucas focused very heavily on the hero's journey with from Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell, who's just an extraordinary mystical traveler, just extraordinarily brilliant individual who wanted us as humanity to be able to tap into the things that like make us come alive with our own story, to get into our own journey and to move forward. And what is it that inspires us? It inspires our spark in order to like come forward and to reach towards our own heroes and to reach up and to reach towards spirituality. Like those were the questions that Joseph Campbell was doing, and George Lucas took that and said, let's find a way to make an amazing story out of that. And so, but even then, he still had, like, we're told that George Lucas had infusions such as Obi-Wan Kenobi, because apparently, like, there is an entity on the other side who's a Nuvoite, whose name is Obi-Wan, which is amazing. And so there's different things that he was able to tap into to make this story that is very mystic and very mystical, and that gets into our connection with what is it that gives us inspiration. So that's why the original Star Wars were so incredible. And we have then we have Gene Roddenberry, who is this incredible ally in a time where racism was rampant, and he is making this story that is showing that the human spirit is the human spirit, and that we can achieve and reach incredible moments of spirituality and intellectual calm, and explore all the nuances that make us that make us like children of the universe. And so, and he was able to fight back against all the racism that was rampant at the time, and have Nichelle Nichols, who played Lieutenant Uhura, and he wanted to do incredible things with her character to show, like, yes, Black people are included as being children of the universe,
and women,
as we all are, women and children of the universe. Yes, and so he wanted to do even more and push boundaries even more to show, like, yes, that we are all indeed continuing to be children of the universe, but
and we can work together.
And we can work together and have incredible relationships together and have peace together. And so it's really incredible. And we were also told, I remember in a trance a long time ago, that Francine was able to find a planet that resembled the Vulcans, which was interesting too, like a planet that was extremely logic based. So I think that Gene Roddenberry was pulling infusion from that experience as well. So it's really, really neat. Two Nuvoites. So there we have it. 2 Gnostics.
Cool. What do we got? Any notes, or do we want to get to the next one?
Yeah. One super quick question. Michelle says, "What stands out for me is hearing that it's going to blow for Montana." So 1996, there was an incident in Montana with some anti-government protesters, and so it was like this. It was just, so this wasn't talking about a volcano. It was talking about about basically like an anarchist group.
That's a better.
Yeah, so it was an anarchist group that was causing a lot of issues in Montana, and that turned into, so what Raheim said is like, this thing is going to blow up. What ended up happening historically, because I went and looked this up, is that this Freeman group in Montana ended up becoming the template for how to resist government for other anarchist groups. And so we see like militias and all sorts of things like being inspired from what happened in that incident. So Raheim predicted that, and it unfortunately came to pass, for better or worse. So
and it's still prevalent. It's still, there's still active groups out there thinking that, hey, they're gonna defend themselves against the government, or as was attempted, that people were trying to overthrow the government.
Yeah, goodness gracious. All right. All right. So next, our last segment here is Raheim is going to talk about a person whose name is El Cid. I spelled it in the comments. And Raheim used jujitsu, karate, and Tao Sing pressure points to put people asleep. Walking is very good for you. Keep your inner councils having more male representation, except for Asna. Mary's mother was Anne, and Anne was Elizabeth's sister. So more about the family dynamics there.
I need that on paper. I'm like,
I know. I know. We need a genealogy here going on. We need a tree.
Cool. All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
That's twice now.
That's twice.
What? I selected it.
I believe you.
And it only picked one. Oh well. Let's try this.
Yay.
It's not a mystery, means the Lord. He wasn't a myth. He was true. El Cid was. Yes.
I thought it was interesting. Some of the Q&A from yesterday was about who could populate your inner council, and it surprised a few people the names that you could pull up. Would you go into that?
That was this last week.
That was the last one.
It wasn't yesterday.
All right.
You mean what I told them last time is they will remember, which you don't. I said Aristotle did 9 Shakespeare. I can recant all the people.
Okay. You did add Asna and Om.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes, I have them all at my
So we did that here?
Yes.
Yes, it's here.
They all run together.
It's a good thing we spirits have memory.
Pardon.
Maybe he was taken by a UFO and
Yes, a long time. Yes.
You spoke of the surgical mask last time.
Yes, put it over your face, yes.
A year or so ago, you spoke of a silver gas mask that we would protect from the green munch. Do we need to put both on? Or
I would put the mask on for every day. I'd be a little bit hesitant to use a silver gas mask for everything. I think that's more from the attack time, which I would recommend this whole week you put it on because you're under attack this week. It won't lift until Sunday. You've been under heavy attack. I don't want to program anyone. And somebody said to me today, be careful that you don't suggest. I said, I don't have to suggest anything. They already know they're under attack. They're not stupid.
We'll suggest
I said, and if you don't believe me, I told the council, come and watch my people. I said that I speak to. They'll tell you how much in attack they are. Yes.
Raheem, thank you for all you have done for us and for doing this.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. I want to ask your help for the cell memory class.
You have it.
That you keep us on track and get the information to the people.
I know you will. I know you'll do an excellent job of that.
Thank you, Raheem.
You've been taught by a good person. Yes.
Since you're a physical warrior, can you tell us what kind of regiment you train, or like a routine or something like that? Right.
What was the question?
Were you a physical fighting warrior?
I was.
Yeah, what type of routine did you go through it daily? Or?
Well, I used a lot of Tai Chi to get myself limber because I was taught by my Asian companions. I traveled extensively. I used a lot of jujitsu. I used karate. And I used a very ancient method of what they call Tao Sing. And that was that I could center in by just pressure points to the different arteries of the body and put somebody to sleep. I never believed in hurting people as much unless they were attacking someone I loved. But it was called Tao Sing. And it literally, you could put pressure on certain arteries in the neck and bring about, it's like the sleep hold.
Like Spock does.
Spock does that.
Vulcan death grip.
Weight training hurt that, the training?
I'm sorry?
Weight training hurt that type of training?
No.
It's not counterproductive?
No, not counterproductive. Any way you use your body, unless you want to just make it... No, I will tell you what is counterproductive to your body. I will tell you this. A lot of jogging is counterproductive to your etheric substance. That constant banging on your knees and hips and joints is not good for anyone. Walking is wonderful. But that jogging, teeth begin, if you could see what your physiological body looks like while you're doing that, you would be horrified. Your back jaw becomes rigid and juts upward. The whole spinal column begins to wobble. The knee joints begin to wear, and so do the hip joints. The spinal column, like I said, begins to wear and gyrate, yes. The neck muscle begins to tighten. There is nothing. Francine said this years and years ago. Please, she said, plus your internal organs begin to drop, sidle into each other, squash into each other. No, you're not an Indian scout. They ran for flight or fright or food, but they didn't run at 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 miles, just because they wanted to.
Never seen a young looking jogger. They all
You never have seen a happy one either.
Hey, look.
Raheem, when you were talking about the council, you were saying that philosophers are good. Now, you were mentioning, that there's not very many female. One you said that did poetry, that was Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz? Was that her?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was there philosophers that came in as male entities but were actually female?
Some were.
Okay.
But what I told you was be careful because keep it more male because that's the center of the ego I am, and you want to keep it more male. I'm not to offend, and Francine, everyone goes along with me, not to offend the feminine, because if you're feminine enough, whatever your sexual preference is, I don't care. But the fact that you're in a female body or a male body, keep it male. Except for Asna.
What about Guru Mai Chivilasananda? That she took Muktananda's place? She seems to be very holy.
Oh, I think she is very holy. I have nothing but good to say.
I met her 22 years ago.
Very holy, very beautiful eyes, very soft, loving way.
Where's Muktananda? People seem to see him come back.
No, he's not back. I saw him the other day. He can't be back. No, because I just saw him in the Hall of Wisdom the other day. So he's maybe he's bilocating somewhere, but he's definitely. Yes. All right. Yes.
A question answered about the Bible. As a Catholic, we weren't allowed to read the Bible very much.
Smart.
But I have a conflict with the names. John the Baptist's mother was Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was Mary's cousin.
Yes.
Now, I was told that Mary's mother was Anne.
That's right.
Is that correct?
That's exactly right. You're perfectly right on. And they were first cousins. Elizabeth and Anne were sisters. They had two sons. John the Baptist from Elizabeth, and Anne was Mary's. Do you understand?
Okay. So, Mary and Elizabeth were cousins.
Sisters.
Sisters.
That's right. And John and Jesus were first cousins.
Okay.
Yes. Hated each other, by the way. Jesus did not hate him. John the Baptist was very jealous of him.
Oh, yeah.
Very jealous.
Rain in his parade.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank God bless you. I will see you again, I guess, on your Sundays.
Yes, we'll be doing church and
Fun.
Ooh, that was spicy.
Yeah.
John the Baptist was jealous. Ooh. Wow, that's spicy. Oh.
A fun thing came to mind. Not to say I know what was
Sure.
crossing Raheem's mind, but he was expressing about on your council, make it mostly male or make it male. And I thought, well, why is that? And what comes to mind is, it's the physical, the physical and our being here in experience. It's an experience in, how did I relate that to emotion? Well, the experience, it's emotion. This is emotional planet. So it's a balancing. I think of it as a balancing of. So the physical part of us is like the emotion.
It's already emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. The council becomes a balance with intellect for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. I think it makes a lot of sense. It was just surprising to hear, but it does make sense.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear if people wanted to share who have been some people that you're putting on your council.
Fun.
Everyone feels like sharing.
There was discussion about exercise and how jogging's not that great for you, and I was thinking, well, what are the other high impact aerobic exercises you can do? One of my favorites is trampoline. That I hadn't done it for a long time, and I get out and go jump, and I'm like, God, in like 5 minutes I'm dead. And I'm like, why? Well, it's because to maintain your balance, and you're doing these sharp, quick, explosive maneuvers. They're very tiny, but to keep your balance, you're doing all these little sharp movements to hold your balance and the bounce itself. And it's not, for me, it's not like you're bouncing on the concrete like you are as you run. Running is you're hopping. Each step you're hopping and going boom, boom, boom. Whereas the trampoline, you're bouncing and exerting energy. Yeah, I could think of, climbing trees and stuff like that as fun, but that's one of the ones that's been fun for me, just to exert a lot of energy all in a short period of time.
Cool. Very cool. For me, so I know some people really love swimming. We've heard that swimming is very good because it's like very low impact. Well, no impact. I don't know what I was thinking there. I used to do rowing when I was younger, like rowing and kayaking. That was a ton of fun. And again, it's not an impact sport as well. Some people like cross country skiing. I personally really like dance and martial arts that is not sparring. No, I'm not interested in getting an injury. No. That's not for me. I'm done. I'm done with the injuries. Thank you. So, but just going through the forms of martial arts and buddy, like Floofy, and yeah, dance, because going to dance classes at the YMCA is something I've enjoyed doing in the past too. So,
I was been fascinated with. It's very common to hear about Asian martial arts and the exercises involved. And I don't recall how while ago, but there was a point where I had watched a show about the other styles of martial arts. For me at the time, it was like, martial arts is just about Asian culture, part of Asian historical culture. And no, there are other cultures that have their own martial arts. South America has a version,
Capoeira, yes,
which is fun to watch, and the Middle East have their version as well. Different style of move and
Krav Maga, yeah,
and you typically used for in a form of self-defense. But yeah, fascinating to see the different cultural developments of these martial arts.
Yeah, it is. So these are all whatever is going to give you some joy, and it sounds like we want to avoid repetition injuries and the the impact of
the hard hit.
Yeah, the hard hits of jogging. So, but when all else fails, a nice walk is always a good place to start. 10-minute walk was what we've been told 2 or 3 times a week. 10-minute walk with intentionality of I'm getting my heart rate up and engaging my muscles, and then you're good.
Cool. What do we got? We have any fun comments before we do a meditation?
Yeah. So we've got Jill says, Tom, I have a rebounder. It's excellent. It's not very big and has a handlebar for stability. Cool.
A rebound? Is that a pogo stick?
Is it a pogo stick? Oh my goodness.
I don't know what a rebounder is, but
I don't know. I have to look it up. Old School says, my body is thankful for water exercises. Amen to that. Alyssa says, I've been doing stair climber and elliptical at the gym lately. Nice. Michelle shares, Kat, I was just pondering on my counsel and Nikola Tesla comes to mind. Interesting. Brilliant inventor. So your Thomas shares, I used to do sparring, but as I got older, I liked forms a whole lot better when I practiced Taekwondo. Very nice. D shares, my counsel is Mother and Father God, Jesus, Raheem, Francine, Sylvia, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and Louise Hay, because teaching soothe my soul. Awesome. Awesome. Just as a friendly reminder, I'm not sure if those folks have passed away, but keep in mind, like they said that we only want people on our council who are on the other side, so who are not currently living life.
Wayne Dyer has passed away. I know
he
that.
did pass away. Okay.
I don't know about Louise Hay, if she has or not, but you know.
Interesting. Let's see your Facebook comments. Yvonne, hi, Reverend Yvonne. Hello. She said, I ran track from age 10 to 15, and it's true I suffer with some painful joints now. Dang. But I find dancing to be an excellent way to energize my system. That's wonderful. Very cool. Ronald, hi, Ron, shares Tai Chi. I love Tai Chi. Oh man, the second time that I tried Tai Chi, I was so like in tune with the energy, and I was like very, very open, and I actually passed out right in the middle of Tai Chi class, like beginner Tai Chi. Like they came over, like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I think the energy was doing things. So it's really interesting. Like some of those forms, yeah.
Euphoric epiphany.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. Some of those ancient practices, they say like, oh yeah, it gets your energy moving. Like, yes, it does actually get your energy moving in new and interesting ways. So yeah, Tai Chi's great. I love Tai Chi. Linda says, I love to walk and swim. And Gibson says, so there's not as much emotional energy for the council for like female people. Yeah, so you want your council to not have to just have more of that. Sounds like kind of like intellectual groundedness to it, which is nice. It's lovely. Having invited Raheem's energy there. It's awesome. Jill says a rebounder is a small trampoline.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. And yeah, we got some comments saying that yes, both Louise Hayes and Wayne Dyer did pass away, and yeah, we've got some other people who are enjoying Tai Chi and dancing as well. So it's nice. Thank you, everyone, so much for your comments. It's wonderful.
Fun variety of ideas.
Yes, it's fantastic. All right.
Are we ready for a meditation?
I think we are probably ready for a meditation. Yes.
All right. I gotta go find it.
Okay.
All right. For everyone that wants to participate, we encourage you to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your lap to receive that wonderful rejuvenating energy. And for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us, but by all means come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand. And for everyone else, we'll take a moment of rejuvenation.
Find a comfortable place to sit, with your feet flat on the floor, or a comfortable place to lay, if you need to, with your hands laying palms up on your lap. Now, to start relaxing your mind, body, and spirit, take 3 deep breaths and let go of any worries and concerns.
The egg of the mother. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. I want you to pull yourself into a golden egg, a golden ova. A purple band streams all the way around this egg, like an Easter egg. It pulsates while you sit inside, cross-legged and with your thumb and index finger forming a complete circle. Do that now with your fingers, as priests have done in ceremonies of communion. This gesture is powerful in any situation because it makes one circle. Use it when you are in a stressful position. Now begin to breathe in green so that your organs receive healing energy, spontaneity, and refertilization. Directly over the egg is Mother Asna with her mantle. As always, beautiful in her power, gorgeous in her glory, golden in her suffusion of light. This egg is a symbol of her power. Inside it, you are completely protected. This egg is surrounded by the archetypes. When you imagine them, know that you are creating very real imagery all around you. See that these very tall, blonde sentinel figures who report directly to God, they are standing around you and giving you electrical currents. You're inside the egg, but it's almost as if you can look out of it and see Mother Asna spread out her mantle and her arms, forming wings that shelter you. Golden and beautiful, she can create any miracle she wishes. Your atmosphere is suffused with her mantle of light. She gives love and forgiveness to all, and understands any unforgiveness you may have. She gives you complete and total sanction to be.
Now, on the count of 3, come all the way back, bringing that wonderful feeling with you. 1, 2, 3. Fully alert, fully awake. Find a comfortable place to sit.
There you are. That was like... Okay, now
Beautiful.
I need a moment to recuperate from the recuperating.
I know.
It's like when you come back from vacation, you need a vacation.
In doing that meditation, I got an insight that I need to start doing some pressure points. A couple places. It's just as a reminder. It's like
fun.
Yeah. Sometimes those little insights happen.
If you have any questions about what we shared, feel free to post in chat or email us questions to Kat, that's K-A-T, at novus.org, or Tom at novus.org, T-O-M. Of course, we appreciate all the listeners, both live and on demand. Show your appreciation for New Spirit Radio by promoting, liking, subscribing. Yes, look for our websites, novus.org, sylviabrowne.com, chrisrightnow.com. Look for us on Facebook, Making Funny Noises, on Society of Novus Spiritus, Sylvia Browne Group, New Spirit Radio Show, and several study groups. Yes, we do occupy YouTube, which many of you have discovered. You can find us at Society of Novus Spiritus, but also go check out Chris Dufresne at Psychic Awareness. Yeah, because there's more. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of the Q&As, Sunday Q&As. Some lot of fun information coming from there. Let's see. You can start a study group if you want to learn more about our philosophy. Because when you donate, you'll get some things in return. You'll get a monthly Sunday service CD, a newsletter, and typically you get a liaison answer questions about the society. Unfortunately, we know Amazon Smile no longer exists. However, you can watch church services. Watch the Sunday service. I just recently posted one on Facebook and YouTube. You're welcome to participate in that for remote viewing. No, you can watch it on YouTube instead of remote viewing. There are classics of Larry and Sylvia. If you want to participate in a special Zoom service, put your email on the website and you'll get an invitation from Reverend Ellen Schloss to participate in that, as well as you should get an invitation, if you'd like, to the closed Facebook group when they do live in-person Sunday services in Las Vegas. There's no, there's no single famous person in Las Vegas now, so I can't tease her about how's Wayne doing. So now it's time for the Novena. I was telling you about how that works for new people. It's very simple. We're all going to say together at the same time, and I'm going to lead you this phrase, and we're going to say it 3 times. The phrase is, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. And we'll say that 3 times together. And yet we'll count because I need my fingers too. And after each session of that, well, I'll tell you what we want to ask for. We're going to do 3 rounds of those. So what I'd like you to do is visualize all of us together holding hands. Doesn't matter when you're watching or listening or participating. We're all holding hands in this huge room, and we're like pearls on a necklace around Mother God's neck. So we will get started. You ready? I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay. Ready? I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for others. Okay, and the last one. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon for others seeking this spiritual knowledge. Of course, think of something you're appreciative of. Having that appreciation puts our mind in a positive state, shows that we have instead of don't have. In addition, show your appreciation to Francine and Raheem for researching all of this wonderful knowledge. How? Using the tools that we've been given. And of course, grateful for Sylvia coming to this insane asylum of the universe to start this movement and for showing us how to get some peace of mind and grace while we're here. And of course, Asna for helping and promoting us. Promoting? Yeah, promoting us. Great. And protecting us. Father God, for providing the most prestigious school for us to experience, learn, and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. Appreciate Bob Ingold's help with some of the graphics and sound, and Sammy and Javon for our wonderful intro-outro music. Writing, setting up, hosting is MIT Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, hosting, and everything else that's incorporated is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now, our prayer by Sylvia. Somewhere over here. Oh, here we go. There we go. Who's singing over there?
I think that is my husband in the other room.
All right.
Because his headset broke.
Gotcha. Well, here we go. They won't hear any more of it. We're going to listen to it.
All right. Fabulous.
Prayer for midday. Dearest Mother, the ruler of the earth and the day, allow the love that flows from you to the Father surround me. Restore my energy and allow me to enjoy every moment. I pause now and breathe deeply, closing my eyes and allowing your divine love to purify and rejuvenate me. Amen.
And Kat's going to tell us.
Pray for and visualize your best mental health. We love you very much. See you next week. Good night.
For so long we have ignored you, as if you were not there. All praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears.